You are watching New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green, and we have another trade involving a cornerback. This time, we are shipping out Isaac Yiadom, and in return from the Green Bay Packers, we will be receiving Josh Jackson, the former second-round pick in 2018 out of Iowa. This is a move that kind of caught me off guard a little bit because Isaac Yiadom, he played okay last year, probably under-delivered a little bit in his first season out of New York Giants. But Josh Jackson is also the same thing. He hasn't lived up to the hype of being a second-round draft pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, but hopefully with Joe Judge and Patrick Graham teaching him the ropes and showing him how to be an NFL player, he'll turn around and live up to the hype of that second-round draft pick. But I want to know what you guys have to say. Get down in the comments and let me know. Grade this trade using A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I'll be down there interacting with you and sharing what I think about this trade because I think it was a B at the end of the day. The Giants, they're trading Isaac Yiadom, and they're getting a guy that's kind of a project in Josh Jackson, a guy that came into the draft with a lot of hype that maybe even he had the potential to be a first-round pick. So to get a guy with a limitless ceiling, I think is good. And when you look at these stats between these two, it kind of just jumps off the page about how many snaps and the difference of snaps there was between Yiadom and Jackson this last year. Jackson, 26 tackles, 2 pass breakups, and when he was targeted, he allowed a high completion percentage, allowing 23 catches on 31 targets, whereas Isaac Yiadom, he allowed 37 catches on 60 targets. But this is also why I think the Giants made this trade. Isaac Yiadom, he only played in 114 special team snaps last season, whereas Josh Jackson, he was on the field for 142 special team snaps. Joe Judge, a former special teams coordinator, he wants guys that are versatile and can not only help on defense, can also help out on special teams. Where Josh Jackson is going to slide in on this cornerback depth chart, he's going to have to fight for a roster spot if he wants to be a DB more so than just a special teams player. Obviously, cornerback 1, cornerback 2, James Bradbury, and Adoree Jackson. In the nickel, it's going to be dominated by Darnay Holmes. I think Julian Love will get some snaps there as well. But at cornerback 4, that's kind of the spot that's up for grabs right now. I have Rodarius Williams there. He kind of struggled in the preseason game versus the New York Jets, but he showed signs in camps that he can be a productive player in the NFL. Madre Harper, he had a lot of tackles in the preseason game. He may get that spot. Maybe it'll be the newly acquired Keon Crossan from the Houston Texans in the trade yesterday, or maybe it might be Josh Jackson. But another look at this trade as we weigh it out, a plain-up swap for cornerbacks. Josh Jackson, he's coming over to New York. He'll wear that New York Giants blue, and the Giants are shipping out Isaac Yiadom to the Packers. How many years have you guys been a New York Giants fan? I was born a New York Giants fan. It means something to be a New York Giants fan in my family. My brother, my dad, my grandpa, his dad, we're all New York Giants fans. My earliest memory of being a New York Giants fan was the 2001 NFC Championship game against the Minnesota Vikings when the Giants absolutely steamrolled them 41-0. But go down in the comments and let me know how many years you have been a New York Giants fan. It's cut day for the New York Giants. They had to trim the roster down from 90 men to 85 men. And when we have to also cut this roster down from 85 to 80, we will make another video for you, just like we will when the Giants release their official 53-man roster heading into Week 1 of the NFL season. The most notable cut, Alfred Morris. This one kind of caught me off guard a little bit because Morris, when he had to play last year for the Giants, he did all right. He filled in solidly when Wayne Gallman needed a breather, but he was brought back this offseason right before Giants training camp, so I thought he may earn a roster spot on the Giants. But when you look at what Alfred Morris did last year, nothing really pops off the screen too much. He's a hard runner who is going to get in between the tackle and get those hard-nosed yards, 55 carries, 238 yards, and 1 tutty. Alfred Morris, he was probably the biggest surprise cut for me. And when you see what he did in the game in the preseason and preseason week 1 against the New York Jets, 2 carries for -4 yards, partially due to because how awful the backup offensive line was. But when you look at this Giants running back depth chart, it just kind of leaves a lot to be desired. Saquon Barkley, we'll touch on him later in the video. Some new news coming out about him. Big time win for the New York Giants. Then you have Devontae Booker, the free agent signing from the Las Vegas Raiders. He's currently slotted as the RB2. And Corey Clement, the former Super Bowl champion with the Philadelphia Eagles. He had a couple nice runs in the first preseason game versus the New York Jets, but he did have a fumble, which may cost him his roster spot. Also on the roster, the rookie running back Gary Brightwell and Sandro Platzgummer, the fan favorite. I got ripped a little bit for not including him in my last video. I thought he was going to get cut, but it's somewhat surprising to see that it was actually Alfred Morris. This is a guy, he's an NFL veteran. He's earned his stripes. I think he would have been good to have in that running back room with some young talent. But what does this mean? Another week, another game of Sandro Platzgummer. I know you New York Giants are a big fan of his, so I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do in week 2 of the preseason this weekend versus the Cleveland Browns. More roster moves that the Giants made. Chris Milton, the DB, he was cut, and also Jaron Williams. He was placed on IR, so he will not be playing this season. Kind of an IR stash kind of move. Clearly the Giants like something about Jaron Williams, but he's going to have to prove it next offseason if he wants to make this 53-man roster. When you look at this cornerback depth chart, it was going to be hard for either of those guys to make this roster. This room is filled with 2 solid veterans that no matter what, they're going to be cornerback 1 and cornerback 2 for the New York Giants. It was just going to have to be a battle for that cornerback 4 spot if either of those guys wanted to make this roster. So I'm not surprised that both of those guys will not be suiting up and wearing that New York Giants blue this offseason. But I do think that it was a little bit of a surprise that these guys were cut, but hey, it's the NFL. You got to get down to 53-man roster before week 1 of the NFL season. So these are the moves that the Giants had to make. I want to know what you guys have to say about this. Cuts, we're going to have to go down from 80 in a couple, 85 to 80 in a couple games. And then after that, we're going to get down to 53-man roster. A lot of people will get cut, and there will be some surprise cuts. So get your votes in. Let me know what you guys think. Name a player you think the Giants will cut before week 1 of the NFL season. Could it be Sam Beal? He's a hot name right now. Might it be the rookie running back Gary Brightwell? May it be Sandro Platzgummer? Just go down and get your votes down in the comments. Some breaking news around Saquon Barkley, and this time it's good news. This is from The Athletic. This is what they said. Giants running back Saquon Barkley participated in drills in a team setting on Tuesday for the first time since tearing his ACL last September. Barkley wore a red non-contact jersey during 7-on-7 after previously doing no more than individual drills. Barkley first practiced August 9th after spending the first few weeks of camp on the physically unable to perform list. He said at the time he was definitely hopeful to be ready for week 1 against the Broncos on September 12th. This is big for the New York Giants because it just means that they are getting closer and closer to Saquon Barkley suiting up in week 1 of the NFL season. And guess who's back? Back again, Saquon Barkley. He'll be wearing that New York Giants blue. Shout out to my producer, Jeremy Beadling, a.k.a. Chugs. He cooked that one up. I'm excited. As a New York Giants fan, you got to be excited. Saquon Barkley is the heartbeat of this team. We clearly missed him last year, so to have him back, it's going to be a great thing for all New York Giants fans to see. Subscribe to New York Giants Now by Chat Sports because we are just pumping out content almost daily. Roster cuts, we've got a video up within hours. A trade, we've got a video up ASAP. Yesterday, a trade happened. We had a video up ASAP. So whenever there's news or rumors surrounding the New York Giants, you can count at New York Giants Now to pump out a video on the latest New York Giants news and rumors. If you want to talk more New York Giants football, go and give me a follow on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_. Some of you guys have given me a follow, and we've been chopping it up in the DMs. My DMs stay open. I want to talk all day about New York Giants football. So follow me on Twitter and send me a DM.